The 1970s was a decade of great change, and the passage of Title IX on June 23, 1972, created numerous opportunities for women that didn't previously exist. That was especially true in interscholastic athletics. Therefore, it's no surprise that NFHS history has had many great female leaders emerge since that time. Among them, 6 highly accomplished women who hailed from the Midwest deservedly stepped to the forefront. One such individual is Dorothy McIntyre, who grew up in the small Iowa town of Hawkeye and ended up with the Minnesota State High School League.
There were 14 of us in our senior class when we graduated, and Hawkeye had a girls' basketball team. And so that became my focus. I didn't play, which is one of the major regrets of my life, because I hadn't seen a basketball in my life until I got to town, and all the town girls knew how to play basketball and dribble and shoot. So I became a student manager, and I organized things, which I think worked out pretty well in my life after that.
After championing the cause of girls' sports, McIntyre dramatically expanded her sphere of influence when she joined the MSHSL.
Within 2 years, the advisory committees that we set up to help guide us with how fast and where do we start had recommended that we have as our first state tournament track and field. It was a sport that could attract schools from all over the state. So we announced it, set up some regional meets, and at St. Cloud Apollo in 1972, again, I watched buses, long lines of those beautiful yellow buses coming up the driveway to St. Cloud Apollo, this time filled with young women who were going to participate in the historic event, the first state track and field meet for girls in Minnesota. Every event they ran or they threw or they jumped set a state record. Isn't that wonderful?
From the state directly to the east comes Wisconsin's Karen Kuhn, the first female from there to be inducted into the National High School Hall of Fame. Kuhn capped off her nearly 40-year career by serving as Associate Director of the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association.
The WIA at that time, under the direction of John Roberts, the father of Jack Roberts of the Michigan Association, decided they wanted to be proactive and they wanted to help our schools get organized. So they decided they would hire a woman to come in to be the girls' sports coordinator to get the program going. And I was fortunate enough to be the one hired.
Some 46 years since its implementation, Kuhn cites Title IX's greatest impact.
I would say if we look at Title IX while we think about athletics and sports opportunities, I think we have to look at it much broader in what it has done in the corporate world, allowing women to be CEOs and to move up into management positions, and we're seeing more and more of that. And as you talk and look at these women's bios, they all talk about their sports opportunities and the networking that they have done.
The Dakotas have equal bragging rights as each has a member in the National High School Hall of Fame. The Mount Rushmore state of South Dakota produced Ruth Rain.
I was always interested in doing things. I remember living on a farm close to there. I would come home after watching maybe the boys in track practice. I would put a bamboo pole between 2 trees and pretend like I was high jumping. And then I would, in those days you called it broad jump, not long jump, and I would dig a hole and in the summertime put a lot of grass and leaves, and in the fall the leaves. That was kind of my landing pit, so to speak. So I had no opportunities, but I always wanted to do sports of some type, and I think that's one of the reasons why I was driven to that point later in my life.
Title IX provided opportunities for females that go way beyond simply participating in high school athletics.
We often hear this, but it is so true that sports participation increases opportunities not just for females to go into a coaching background, but they're much better suited to be an administrator in a non-sport field. The concept of being on the court or the field or whatever just really enhanced the opportunities for what females could do in the future.
Meanwhile, North Dakota boasts Cheryl Solberg, who was a 34-year member of the North Dakota High School Activities Association.
I think that Title IX probably was a little bit of how I got my job at Mayville Portland High School. Part of it was coaching. They threw coaching in there, so I coached gymnastics and track and field. And after I was there for the first year, the girls so badly wanted to have basketball. We had to prove that there were enough girls at the school interested in playing basketball before they would actually let us have a team. So we opened it up. We had 70 girls that came out for basketball. It was the momentum that we needed, and we were blessed with female athletes that had dreamed of playing basketball since they were probably 5 years old.
When asked what has been the most profound and enduring end result of Title IX, Solberg believes it hasn't happened yet.
We're still in the progress of building the importance of being involved in not only athletics, but Title IX as far as all of the other departments in our education system. And now, however many years later, we have young girls that are taking for granted the fact that when I'm in the 7th grade, I'm going to play basketball. When I get into high school, I'm going to be on the volleyball team. It's not, oh, I hope I can. I hope they have a program for me. There is a program in place, and they don't even really think about the fact that this was a big struggle. They're thinking about the fact that this is mine, and I'm going to go for it. And that's what I like about Title IX.
For many years, the nation looked to Susan True of the NFHS for leadership and direction in high school girls athletics.
One thing that Title IX did was that it mandated some parity within your athletics program and in other programs. I mean, it also applied to the English department, it applied to the history department, which many people didn't know. But one of the things they had to do was they had to do interest surveys. And those interest surveys, wherever they did them, they found out there were a lot of young women who wanted to compete in athletics. And using those, then they would add so that there was more parity. And it seemed to me anyway that even though there's lots of money in collegiate athletics, you know, football and basketball drive it all. But at the high school level, that isn't the case. So I think it impacted high school more than college, that there had to be parity. And so you had to have girls' teams that matched up with how many boys' teams you had. So it grew very rapidly, which of course just proved that the girls had wanted to do it all along.
True also notes how Title IX created strong role models for young girls.
I think one of the things that Title IX did was it gave them models. It gave them models of athletes, and then as women's programs grew, it started first that we would have a women athletic administrator. And then now they can become athletic directors and associate athletic directors. But they began to have role models that they could do it. And all you have to do is talk to people who know about Power 500 CEOs that are women, and almost all of them participated in athletics. So it has just really given many, many opportunities to women in a lot of fields in addition to athletics.
Another former NFHS administrator is Becky Oakes, who served as the organization's first female president during the 1996 to 97 school year.
I think when Title IX came in, people think very quickly it's all about sports. It is, but there were a lot of other things that go into Title IX, different areas it can impact. But I believe what I benefited, and what I see and still believe is a benefit, is it opened the door for opportunity for greater inclusion of a huge talent pool.
Moving on from the Missouri State Association, Oakes went full circle by serving as an NFHS staff member for 11 years.
I was one of those individuals that about the 2nd grade, I decided that the best job you could possibly have would be being a gym teacher. That's what we call them, the gym teacher. And because that person got to have recess all day long. And I also just thought being a teacher probably had to be the greatest job that there ever was. And I got out of school and I got a coaching job and teaching job. I really did. I thought I had the best job that you could ever possibly want on the face of the earth. And so it was a lot of fun.